Jodie here. I just want to do another of my videos for EdTech businesses, and this one is all about transferring your product into a new market, i.e. a different country market, so internationally. Now you might find that because either you're not doing very well in one country, so you might have thought, right, we're going to sell in England, but actually budgets are pretty dire at the minute for anything to do with kind of technology that's not directly related to English and maths and whatever else is kind of the current focuses for schools. So it might not be doing so well, so you might be thinking, okay, well, we'll transfer the product into another market or market it elsewhere, as well as keeping it in the UK as well. Or you might be doing really well in the UK and want to branch out further by putting it into other countries. And I just want to, this is a bit of a word of caution video, if you like. It's around the things that you need to do to make sure that is possible, that your product can transfer, your service can transfer. And there's lots of things that EdTech companies often don't really take into account, because they think that a lot of education's the same and teachers think the same around the world, and they've got the same kind of ideas, and to an extent that's true, but of course different governments, different locations, different possibilities, different bandwidth, different remote access, different restrictions in different countries can of course impede any of that. So there's two different sides to making sure you can localize your service. One is the localization of the product itself, so the technicalities, and the other is the localization of the marketing. So what is the message? Is the message the same? So when we talk about the product, there are things really as simple often as the fact that they name the year groups differently, or the age groups that the children are in different year groups are different, or obviously you then get into bigger things like the whole curriculum's different. So an example can be a company that's doing really well in England who thinks, oh, we can branch out into Scotland. Whole different world up there in terms of the terminology and things like that, and it has to all feed in, and they have to know that you know that. You can't just go there and unless you're very upfront and say to a few pilot schools, can you work with us on the development from day one? You can't just redevelop your product and chuck in the new terminology and expect to go up there and sell it when you don't really know what their pressures are, what their constraints are, what they're already dealing with, what they already have to buy from a local authority versus what they can buy at school level, and making sure you know all of that side of things as well. But you need to make sure that, first of all, that your product can technically make those changes. So there's no point steaming into a country if you then find out that something huge cannot be removed or added into your product that has to be there in order for it to be a success in a different country. So recently I was talking to a product who didn't realise that a lot of schools have YouTube blocked, for example, and that's a big part of the product that they've made, is that it hinges on using YouTube. So that's just one example. I've also worked with other companies that have tried to go into somewhere where the way that the curriculum strands are worked out is so different to the way that it is in England that you can't just map the two. You can't just do a kind of, oh, this fits here and this fits there. You've got to redesign the whole way the product maps, the whole way the database works on the back end, and so on. And then there's just the case of kind of trying to steam in without really knowing the market that you're going into and knowing what the terminology is, and it being very obvious. And all they're going to think is that this is a really lazy attempt to just sell to another country just because you think your product works in one. So at this stage, I'm going to leave it there because we're nearly at 4 minutes, and I like to try and keep them between 3 and 5. I will try and do some more specific follow-up on this, but yeah, you really think about can you localise your product from a technical point of view, can you localise your product from a marketing point of view, and think about where is the best country to sit that, based on doing some research into, is there a place where the curriculum maps will work, or is there a place where their pressures are the same as the teachers in the country you're already a success in, or is there somewhere that has a focus from government level, therefore there's going to be funding, and you want to make sure that you're one of the people there because you've got a product that is worth getting into schools. So think about all those things before you go steaming in. Make sure you do real research, and you really need to be thinking of it as if you're designing a new product from scratch. Hopefully there'll be some quick wins along the way where you can just go, oh, that's a really simple change, but there will be some things you're going to have to really think about to make sure that your customers in the country you're in now don't feel left behind, and the customers where you're going to don't feel like they're just kind of the add-on at the end and you're just trying to make a quick buck from them. So yeah, have a great day. It's nice and drizzly over here. Hope your weather's a bit better. Bye.